Oh, my ZSH. What?
Yep.
I like my ZSH. That's what I was using for a while, and then I just got bored with it and went back to just using Bash.
Yeah,
Using
I'm enjoying it. It seems to work with the plugin. It seems to work a little better with Python virtual environments than what I had wired up with Bash.
Yes, that it does. Oh, there he is. There's the X.
The X-Man.
Hey guys.
What's going on?
What's up there?
Oh, I am trying to figure out. Oh, it's so weird.
All right, there. Oh, that's you with the little clicking noise, Jay, I think, or someone.
Oh, yeah, it's probably picking up me clicking my mouse.
I thought that was my computer. I was like,
oh, man, that's like my game too strong. That's scary when it's like, oh, man, my mic picks up my mouse clicks.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
All right, what's up, guys?
I guess I'm going to have to do, was it tap to click?
Tap to click?
Yeah. On my Mac, instead of having it where I actually have to press it, you can set it up to where you just tap it. Some people click, some people tap. You know, it's ultimately kind of some people like it, some people don't.
Yeah.
I'm kind of either way. It doesn't matter to me. What I'm not enjoying right now is trying to figure out how I'm going to fix this www problem with ShowNoter.
Oh, yeah, we ran into that over the weekend or something.
Yeah, well, I knew it was having the problem, but I thought I fixed it on the DNS side.
I thought we did too. It was working at one point.
I think was it?
Yeah.
I never got to work for me.
I thought it was working.
The problem that I'm having is I think that the www problem exists in Nginx. I think I have to set the rules for both systems, or for both.
You do.
Yeah. And that's where it kind of threw me off. Now with that, can I let me? Yeah, Chris figured it out because he's in the chat. What's going on, Chris?
Yeah, we're doing good.
Doing good.
Doing good. Welcome to, I think this is your first Python Thursday.
This is the first one I've made. I've showed up late. I've showed up early and not made it to stay. I've actually been around for about 4 or 5 months, but
okay.
It's the first one I've been able to catch.
Well, I'm glad you're able to join us tonight.
We working on anything specific?
Nope.
We've got a couple of things going. I think we all kind of have our own personal projects. We're trying to get another group project started up, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit tonight. And yeah, lots of new stuff with the new year.
Yes.
So, how long have you been using Python?
For myself, I've been working with it, trying to learn it a little more fluently than what I do the last 4 or 5 months. More just kind of picking books up and picking up an online course or something like that. I'm working in automation with my company and doing a lot of bare metal infrastructure automation. And we started off with Tickle, then went from Tickle to Perl. And Perl, there was talk about using Python. We kind of bounced back and forth depending upon the tools we're using and just the direction I'm currently seeing with the industry. I'm trying to learn Python because I think that's the direction it's all going to wind up.
I would definitely agree that I think if you had to choose, you said between Perl or Python.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that Python might have a slight advantage just with the way things are going currently. Now, naturally, who knows when that'll change.
Mm-hmm. Well, we work with a lot of Cisco equipment right now. Our equipment uses HP's network automation tool, and they just haven't done that much with Python. But I see all the new Cisco equipment coming out is going to have native Python API support.
Yeah.
We'll be able to do that with controllers, and it's going in that direction. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Since I have everybody here, I'm just gonna tear down ShowNoter. I'm not gonna tear. I'm hoping that I don't tear it down, but we all know how that goes. Well, I'm just trying to figure out, do I need to include, because I can't find like a template Nginx config file
Here, let
for
me
this
help you. I'll open
www.
up mine. I'll open up mine for my blog. So Chris, just to fill you in, Derek's got a web app that he just put up with Python, and
Did
he's
you
got.
call me Derek?
I think he
I
did.
called you Jay.
You totally called me Derek.
Jay. Jay
like,
has
what?
a web app he just put up called ShowNoter, and it's been up. What, went into beta at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, went beta January 4th.
Yeah.
Around there.
We can say tonight's Python Thursday is sponsored by ShowNoter.
Yeah. There you go.
So you've got it running with Nginx.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still running. I didn't think I broke it yet.
But we've got the issue of the Nginx template. Let me grab mine so you can take a look. The one that I have from my Pelican blog.
Okay.
I'll just go ahead and share my screen.
I was able to get to ShowNoter, so it's not broken at the moment.
Yeah. No, you can't get to it if you use www though.
I didn't try that.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. Is it works with shownoter.co, but it doesn't work if you use www.shownoter.co. And
Yeah, that broke. I wasn't able to log in there. The 502 gateway error.
yeah, and then the question is it an issue with DNS or is it an issue with Nginx? Traceroute.
Yeah, and it's sort of hard to find a way to test to see if it's one of those instead of the other.
Yeah, because right now I'm not getting to the server, so I feel like it's DNS because I'm not getting a ping on the IP address of the server.
The 502 error is saying Nginx 1.4.6 Ubuntu.
So you're getting an Nginx error.
It's saying
and that's what's throwing me off. Is like I'm getting an Nginx error, which makes me think it has to be talking to the server in order to get that error.
So,
but then
go ahead.
I don't know if it's But like I said, when I try to trace route, I don't get anything, and that could just be that I know why. I know why I can't trace route because I'm blocking IGMP traffic on the server. That would make sense. Okay.
So Jay, do you have both in your server name? Do you have both www and the non-www version here?
Let me jump back to your screen because I made a change and I need to unmake it.
Okay.
Because I don't want to. Yes, let's do that. Okay.
Is this the Nginx config file?
That's his Nginx config file.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, see, what I did, I put mine on separate lines and closed it. I think that could be why we're having that problem.
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How's everybody else doing?
Doing good.
Doing fine.
All right. Well, while Jay is checking out his Nginx config, we could talk a little Python. Has anyone done anything with Python this week, or anything? I guess they want to share.
ShowNoter update.
ShowNoter update. That's good. What happened to the update?
Just some changes to how the system presents data. Instead of showing it in Markdown, I wanted to show it in HTML, mostly in that it's based on the idea of that if people are going to be coming to the site regularly, they need to be able to interact with the links. Whereas before they were just Markdown, plain text, you couldn't really do it. You'd have to copy and paste the link in. Now it's an actual link, so you can click the link directly from ShowNoter and go where you need to go. I just felt like that was a better decision. And of course, when you download it, it still downloads in Markdown.
Okay. That sounds
What
good.
about the people who just don't want to deal with the download and just want to copy and paste into something that's set up for Markdown?
So one of the future features, which is on the Trello board in the features list, is an accordion view for HTML and Markdown views. By default, it will show the HTML, and the great thing about that is if you copy and paste, you'll be copying and pasting in that format, so you should still get all your A references and everything else. Now, if you're pasting it into plain text, I don't understand why you wouldn't download it. But if for some reason you need it in Markdown format, there will be a button that you can switch, which will switch the display to Markdown view. And once we start talking about doing memberships, then that's when we start looking at, okay, you can set your settings to, I want it to be Markdown, I want it to be HTML. Little things like that. But for right now, I feel like the growing user experience will be people will use ShowNoter not necessarily for podcasts, but for kind of like things that we would do, like how we do Python Thursday. And that way when Jamal posts the link for the show notes, people are viewing the show notes on ShowNoter. They're not having to download it and check links individually.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then some smarter knowledge in the actual Jinja templates. So, well, actually, I think I moved some of the text out of the Jinja template and put it back into the views.py, so that if you don't put in a title, ShowNoter will recognize that, and instead of just giving you nothing.txt, it gives you untitled.txt, which is, I've been told I should actually change that to shownotes.txt or shownoter.txt as a little promotional thing, but also it does the same thing with the title where it used to just leave a hashtag or a pound sign, and it would just say pound sign nothing, and it was like, okay, this doesn't make sense. And then the links would actually say, I think the links still say hashtag links. I gotta fix that. It should just say links. But right now we're just cleaning, just cleaning up the code, cleaning up the the HTML that's processed through the Jinja template, and then hopefully my plan for this week, I'm actually just going to be keeping ShowNoter alive. I'm not going to really do anything too new with it because I'm going to be trying to put together the Productivity in Tech website so I can start publishing my podcast episodes. Which the first episode, I will tell you, was great. It was fun. It was really fun.
Nice. Coming soon to a podcatcher near you?
Coming soon to a podcatcher near you. My goal is to release it mid-February.
Nice. Does anyone else have anything that they've been up to, they want to share or talk about?
I wrote my first Python script this week, and I uploaded it to GitHub, and I had posted it in the Slack room. So, if anybody wants to give some comments or anything, I'd appreciate it.
Cool.
Let me
That's awesome.
take a look at that. I don't. Which Steve are you? There's a lot of Steves.
That was the one that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
sgreg85. That's my name in there.
That's the script that took the downloaded photos from like Google Photos and reset the time and date stamp to the X.
Yeah, but it's actually for the opposite. I have like 2 terabytes of pictures of my son. He's just 2, and when I started uploading them to Google Photos,
Mhm.
they would show the wrong date. They would show us they were taking either the day that was copied to the hard drive or the day I was uploading it. So, I wrote that script to get the date that it was taken from the EXIF data in the pictures and set the modified in the access time to that date.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I've run into that situation before, but I didn't think to write something to fix it.
I thought that was probably the perfect thing to dip my feet in Python a little bit.
Yeah.
It's perfect on whether you've got something you care about and you want to work on.
Yep, and I did it within like 2 or 3 days.
Cool.
Now, do you have experience with other languages, or have you been using Python for a while and just haven't applied it to something, or is this your first real stab at a script at all?
I did some C in college, C++ in college, and Java,
Nice.
but just barely enough to pass the class. That's it.
Did you have any thoughts on using Python versus other languages that you might have used before?
Um, I mean, I definitely found Python, easier. Like,
Okay.
a lot easier. I don't know if it's because I've had the experience in other languages, but definitely easier to understand.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Definitely.
And I started learning, I think was it last year or maybe the year before, I started learning Python 2 because of everybody was saying don't do Python 3, don't do Python 3, but last year
First
everybody
them,
changed.
first them
So
now.
yeah, now so I started learning 3 towards the end of last year, and this is my first script.
Awesome.
I think long-term Python 3 is definitely going to win, but you're still fighting with legacy enterprise applications that are built in Python 2, and companies that don't want to take the time or put the money into porting it over. And so there's still that long tail of trying to get people to convert.
Yeah, Google was one of the companies I think that they were pushing Python 2.
And the problem that I have with that though is like you said, it's a matter of they don't want to do it, not that they shouldn't do it. And that's where you start running into some really I mean to me that's just bad form because if that's how programming languages develop, that's how they grow, that's how they get better. When if we were still, I mean, if no one would have ever said, "Oh, assembly sucks. We need to make assembly better," or "Oh, Fortran sucks. We need to make Fortran better." Not saying that it does suck, just saying that if no one
Oh,
was to say that.
they both suck.
But if everyone said, "Oh, well, we can't fix it because it'll break my code," that's the problem that the Navy has. The United States Navy still runs some systems on Windows 95, and they have to because the people that develop the systems are no longer in the Navy, and I mean these are very important systems, and I mean this is public knowledge. I don't think the NSA is gonna come and kill me or anything, but I say is like there's a SWAT chopper like come and hit me now, but no, like just the idea that you know these are the reasons why like when I was on naval vessels, I was like, why is this technology so old? Why are we using Alcatel switches instead of Cisco switches? And it was like, well, because the people that program it don't want to break anything, they don't want to change anything, but there's better tools out there. Yeah, but if we use it, we can run the risk of being down for a little bit. Ultimately, you have to make those changes.
Well, I think somewhat like Google will eventually make the changes, and I'd like to hope that as they're going in and they're writing new code, they're modifying files to make them Python 2 and Python 3 compliant, and
Yeah,
it's just a matter of time until they fully have their code base switched over.
I would definitely hope so. If they're not, that would be even scarier, is if they're not doing that.
And they got 4 years.
They might just be rewriting it all in Go.
Yeah, I can see that too. And I mean, that's Go is. I know you guys are doing Clojure, but Go, I really think Go is going to be my next language. I don't know why, and I think that's why I want it to be my next language.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I think Go fills a different niche than Python does, so I'm
Hmm.
not sure if it's going to make that replacement. I think that Go could very well replace their Java or C applications. It's more in that type of language, but I'm not sure.
Cool. Yeah, I'm interested in Go too. This year's my closure year, and we'll see for sure what's after that. But I think a language like Go or Rust might be my next one. Something that's more of a systems language, because like I've played some with Java, but that's not really a systems language. It would be, I think, a good direction to go.
And for me, I mean, this year is going to be all about. I think if last year was learning Python, this year is learning to be. I don't want to say fluent in Python, but being efficient in Python. It's like when you learn a language, you learn the basic words, you string the phrases that you need to get by, and then you start understanding the grammar and how things are set up. And then even at that point, you're not fluent, but you're able to work towards becoming fluent. I think that's right now. I feel like I'm at the point where like I know some of the sentences that I need. I can say where's the bathroom in Python, but I can't say, oh, what are you planning to do in 6 months? Oh, well, I am planning to go do this one thing, and translating that to Python speak, I feel like ShowKnitter is a solid app. I feel like there are a lot of things that ShowKnitter doesn't do that it should do and it could do, like multi-threading, whether or not we choose to use async.io or not. Uh, Things like that are I'm still fighting with the issues of do I run code functionally or do I use OOP, and setting up Selenium test systems and things like that. And it's like, well, I can't. I can just get the basics down. I need to work on refining that, because otherwise I'm going to have all this advanced code, and when people look at it and go, oh, well, what does it do? I'll just look at them and go, I don't know.
Right on. Hey, Jocelyn, how's it going?
Hey guys, sorry I'm late.
Hey, no problem.
I almost forgot. I was actually watching a show and I'm like, oh shit, it's already 9.
What's the hashtag save J? I missed that.
Oh, that was when the NSA was going to come get you.
Oh, okay.
What?
I think that's blown over now. So
Yeah. Can you do me a favor, Jamal?
yeah, what's up?
Can you send me your Nginx template, your Nginx file?
Yeah, give me a minute.
Because I added that extra line in there, and it did not do anything.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to grab it.
Did you restart your server?
I did restart my server. Well, I restarted the service. I didn't restart the server.
Yeah.
So, anyone else done anything this week I guess with anything, but anything they wanted to share?
I'm using Selenium more extensively at work with Python.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
Using a head browser or headless?
Right now I'm using Firefox as
Okay.
my driver, but right after that I'm probably going to look at Phantom.js. But I think Selenium actually has a built-in headless, so I got to check both of them out.
Do you have are you Mac, PC, Linux? What are you running?
Mac.
Mac? Okay, if you figure out Phantom.js, please let me know, because I could get Phantom to work on Windows, but I could not get it to work to save my life on Mac.
Okay, sure. Yeah, like right now I'm actually testing the UI of an Angular application, and it's been a little bit of a pain in the ass because with Selenium you just have to find like the CSS selectors or XPath things to like pull out, and it's harder to do with the NG format that Angular has. So I've been trying to like figure that out.
Okay, yeah, I've used Selenium a little bit. I've used QTP a little more, but it's the same general idea. He just makes you do it in VBA or VB script.
Oh yeah, it's my first time also like really writing tests. So I was kind of reading a little bit of the testing go book because it actually does go over how to use Selenium
Yeah.
in the unit test module. But I'm actually omitting the unit test module for now. I'm just using the Selenium built-in methods and stuff.
Cool. What do you think of writing tests versus writing the other code?
Well, the type of tests I'm doing now with Selenium, I would say are very like shallow on the surface. They're kind of petty, just they're only testing things in the user interface. So it's nothing that's abstract and difficult to test like an API or something. So far it's just kind of tedious. But I mean, once I like maybe later on I will get into testing like more abstract things, and I'm sure that'll also be hard to do, but that actually will probably be a little bit more interesting than what I'm doing now.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. What about you, Derek? What have you been up to?
Well, last weekend I went to do the work on the Python Challenge website that you guys showed me last week, and
Yeah.
did a Google search on something having to do with it to see, because I couldn't remember the syntax for something, and Google broke open and told me that I was speaking their language and asked if I wanted to do a challenge.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I have
I've heard about that. Like
I
when
have spent the last week working on challenges from Google.
It's awesome.
Google challenge. Nice.
Awesome.
So you
Maybe
can
you get a job from Google.
At one point, they asked if I wanted to send my information to a recruiter. So
Yeah.
who knows?
Nice.
Awesome. I heard about
It's a-
that, like an article where it said like, yeah, if you Google like
Yeah.
Python things that they care about, then they'll send you that secret link.
Yep.
Python and Java are the two languages that they seem to be looking for at the moment. You can go to the site. Unless you have an invite, you can't actually log into
I
it.
see that. This is interesting.
Yeah.
No.
Here, you want to see what it looks like?
You have to have logged in before. Confused.
He's gonna show us his secret site.
Be careful. Google might be watching.
Yeah.
We are on a hangout.
Hey, it might boost our search rank.
I'm not going to show you what any of the problems. I'm just going to show you the general setup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it gives you like this little mini shell, limited list of commands. You'll notice VI is not in there.
You're not
I
showing.
can't see it.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm just looking at your face.
Yeah. This entire time.
Yeah, see no
How's
VI
that?
there.
There you go.
There it is.
So this is the little screen, the little shell that they give you. There's a limited number of commands, including no VI. Started with just the start here, which says type request to get a challenge. Challenge I have right now is called line up the captives. When you go in here, there's a README which describes the challenge. A constraints, which basically just tells you what they're going to do. So for Python, they say it's 276, and you have standard libraries other than those ones.
Mhm.
You edit either the solution.py or solution.java. Then when you think you have something, verify it. Huh, I got an error because there's nothing in there. And then once you get it, you submit it. And
Cool.
what's the other part?
So it's kind of like exorcism, but Google style.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's 5 levels. There's 1 problem on level 1, 2 on level 2, 3 on level 3, 4 on level 4. So I've done 7 so far out of, I'm assuming, 15.
Cool.
Are they formatted like exorcism? Try test-driven starts?
Yes, I think so. They
Okay.
give you 2 examples, so 2 sorts of unit tests,
Mhm.
and then they actually run 5, which is annoying at times because I know that I'm passing the 2 unit tests, and I'll fail one of the other ones, and then I don't know why. So you need to go back and you need to think harder about what you're doing and what edge cases you've missed.
That's tricky.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun pain.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And some of them have been really hard.
Yeah, I would
Like
think
the
so.
current one I'm on, they gave me 96 hours to do.
Whoa.
And you took time out of your 96 hours to come talk to us?
I did. I'm hoping that I'll have an epiphany.
There you go.
Well, I don't think I've done much Python this past week.
Shame on you.
I think I did something, but I don't remember what it was. I did do some closure. We had 2 kind of impromptu closure hangouts, and in one of them we tried closure on exorcism. So I was going to try running just to get do a little quick demo of getting exorcism up and running for Python, and then we could talk about either do some live coding or talk about the project, the text adventure. Maybe run through a sample of that too, if that sounds good to people.
I had a question that I wanted to get answered. Just
Yeah.
opinions. I mean, it doesn't need to be like right now.
Well, you brought it up. Let's go.
Okay. So if anybody follows, what is it? Is it BitCommit? I cannot think of. It's a comic, and now I can't think of it. Commit something.
I don't think I follow any comics right now,
I don't either.
but maybe I should.
Yeah, I feel bad now. Everybody's
Link
like, oh,
us.
I'm too busy to follow comics. Commit strip, that's what it is.
Hey, you're the
So-
only one of us who's put a web app out this year. So
Love that.
Well, I created some apps, but they sucked.
They
Haven't
only
released them
suck.
to the world.
I will say they only suck to you. I promise you that, because that's the same feeling I always get. Is like, oh, this sucks so bad, blah 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 blah, and it's just like everyone's like, oh, this is awesome. Like, no, it's not. Don't shut up. So I'm sure it's probably better than you think. So yeah, if you look at that commit strip, it was talking about something. Just trying to figure out the idea of timestamp. And this is important for me because I feel like at some point I'll have to do like some type of timestamping, whether it's with logging or, at some point I'll have to use the date time functions. And, it's funny because I get what he's saying, but learning timestamp, is that really necessary? Is that something that people do?
Well, like, I actually came across epoch time recently. Do you guys know what that is?
Mhm.
Okay,
I've
and
heard
see,
the term.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was, but I actually came across it using MongoDB. We were trying to get some dates out of the database, and it all came out as like this giant decimal point number,
Yep.
like with maybe 10 digits or something. And it's because apparently they use epoch time, which is I think it's January 1st, 1971 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
1970, I believe.
1970, yeah. And so you gotta, I guess we had to like write this little formula on Excel, and then we figured out what the actual dates were for, like, when the entries were made in the database.
Mhm.
But like I don't know if that's what you mean. Like, should you learn that? Possibly.
Well, what I'm more thinking of is the idea of, when I use timestamps, because I'm used to just saying, hey, give me this date, give me this time, show it in whatever time.
Like, I also just recently, with Selenium and those tests I'm writing, I'm including the module logging, so I do use that. And I did have a need to improve on their date stamp there, because the way
Yeah.
they have it written out is, it's not really the usual format that you would see, like, month, day, and year, and also hour, like minutes and whatever. They have it like in this other format, and they usually have it also on military time and some other crap. So if you
Yeah.
want it to look nice, I guess you should learn it.
Sooner or later, every programmer has to deal with time.
Okay.
Is that what is that video?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Okay, see, and that's all I needed right there. I'll just I'll put this in my little podcatcher and watch that later.
Oh, it's a great video. It'll make you so thankful that there's a Python library that deals with it.
What
Yeah.
video? I want to see this.
And
I
that's,
shared it in the links.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
a
cool.
YouTube video about the problems with time zones and trying to keep track of time.
Okay, cool.
And that's why I wanted to bring up that question, because I felt like it was going to be only a matter of time. It was only going to be a matter of time before I had to deal with it, and especially with wanting to do a blog. If I put created at 6:42 p.m. On Thursday, what does that show for Jamal? I mean, Jamal is Central Time, right? I think you are Central Time, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So for you, it's 8:42, but will it say 8:42 or will it say 6:42? And if I'm using the stand, like Jocelyn said, like epoch time, ultimately I let the system decide that for me, and it says, okay, look at their current time and show whatever they're seeing.
Yeah, when we finally got the calculation of the time and date and everything from Mongo, it also made me question, what time zone is this in? And
Yeah.
that I don't have the answer to yet. So, I mean, I don't know if like the entry was made in our time zone or if it was like someone else's time zone.
I think the standard is UTC, but you can never be sure unless it
Yeah.
says.
And that's what I've
Easy
always
to
just
know.
thought is worst case, just put it in UTC and then feel weird.
I mean, ideally, you should be able to do some sort of localization so that they feed in, you get some data about what time zone they're in, and the server converts it into their time.
But that's just slowing your servers down. I mean, that's taking precious milliseconds off of your load time.
Well, then, so I think that's the point of the client, though, is that if we serve it up in UTC time, then the client actually is what does the plus minus depending upon what time zone they're in.
Because the client knows what time zone it's in.
Well, if you set the client to have a setting that knows what time zone. I mean, all of our stuff at work is all in UTC.
Yeah.
There's too many time zones. We're a world company that we have to track. There's no way that everybody is always in the right time zone, and it's a real problem when you're trying to figure out change windows on who's in what time zone and everything. So we do everything by UTC, and then the clients or where we do appointments or whatever is all by your individual time zone based off the client.
Yeah. Okay.
And synchronizing to UTC also helps if you have multiple servers. If they're all on UTC, then you don't have to say, well, I got it from this server, which is in
Which can
whatever
be
time zone.
Yeah. I get you.
majority of all our servers are all in the same time zone for our data centers. They're all in the same time zone, and the majority of them are. So that doesn't seem to be too much of a problem. But dealing with, this entry was made at this location, and it conflicts with another entry made at another time zone.
Yep.
That's where
Yep.
that all comes
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for the knowledge.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. It's like
Yeah, I was like, it was really quiet there. Like, wow. Like, okay.
I'll take all the credit. No I'm kidding.
I didn't know if you were done there.
No, I'm
Trailed
yeah,
off.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, awesome.
Except for I'm still getting the 502 gateway error, and I don't know why.
Uh-oh.
Sad bear.
You're like, my web server's working, and I don't know why. And it's like, and my web server's not working, and I don't know why.
Well, it's working, and that's why it's like I don't want to mess with it because if I break it, then I have to fix it.
Then you bought it.
Yeah.
Isn't that what version control is for?
We're working on that. That's in show note 3.1. Oh,
Just-
sorry, 0.3.1.
Hey, your versioning skills are so crazy there. Like I remember from last time.
Just fire up a Git repo. You don't need to push it anywhere. Store all of your server config files that aren't in your actual Python repo.
I've actually, yeah, I did that. I mean, I'm keeping it in like a Dropbox folder right now, but
You
I
don't
like
even
pull
have to.
all that data.
You don't even need to store it anywhere. You just need to initialize the repo right there where you're using it, so that you can revert it if you break something.
That's true. It's true.
But then that goes back to I don't always test my code, but when I do, I test it in production.
Yep. Yeah, it's like,
Did I wear that shirt last week? I don't remember.
You're supposed to obey the goat.
yeah. That was why I took down the site for like 6 hours over a syntax error. I was like, I'm just gonna push this really quick. I know what I'm doing, and then I copied it over, and then I went to sleep, and I woke up, and I was like, hey, you can check out the site now. I fixed that problem that you were having, and like I go to the site and it's just down. Like, oh no.
How not to use GitHub. Hey, actually at work I use GitLab, and that's the first time I had heard of it, but they have a lot of private repo options for free in case you do want free ones, like private ones. So.
That's cool.
I actually just heard of GitLab today.
Cool.
I read a blog post. They're moving the Python repo for the actual Python interpreter onto GitHub, and they were considering GitLab instead at one point. And they ended up deciding that Guido was more a fan of GitHub, so they were going to go with that one instead, among other reasons. I'll see if I can find that.
Put it all in Trello.
The commands are all the same, but the user interface for GitLab is so different. That's all. It's really hard to get used to if you're used to GitHub.
Yeah.
Other than that, instead of calling the repositories, they call them projects. For everything else, all the commands are the same.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. All right, well, I'm going to do a little exploring of, hopefully you'll do a little exploring with me of Exorcism. I want to try out the Python track. First one's just a hello world, so it's more just to get it up and working. So I can go ahead and share my screen.
I'm so lost.
Uh-oh, what happened, Jay?
Well, nothing. I did a net stat, and it's like, no talking to the server. That's why it's so confusing. It's like, it says it obviously is talking because it hits Nginx, but it's not. I don't know what it's doing.
No. All right, so I'm going to go. There's a little initial setup for Exorcism that I've already done, and that is to install the command line client, which is, there it is. If you go through and follow that. And then...
Now, is that the same command line client for no matter what language you're using?
It is.
Okay.
And before I had done, so here's the trying it out. Last time when we were trying Clojure, it was exorcism fetch Clojure hello world. I'm going to try the Python version now and see what happens. Let's see where I'm going. Exorcism. So you can see the Clojure one's in there. Try exorcism fetch Python hello world. You get this message that we have a new hello world exercise and it hasn't been submitted yet. Take a look at it. Hey, that's handy. It's named hello world. Okay, so there's a README, there's a test file, and there's a PI file. This is kind of, I like this because not only does it have tests, but it's almost kind of like a puzzle. It doesn't really tell you much. You just kind of have to follow the trail of breadcrumbs that's left there for you. Okay, so we're going to write a program that greets users by name by saying, or saying hello world if no name is given. And then it has some more information about that. This should be pretty straightforward. Hello world to make sure it's up and running. So there's a test file here. I'm going to assume that that is a unit test. So let's see.
I'm sort of surprised that the README didn't tell us how to run the tests.
Yeah. Well, then again, I guess the major test clients will all run a unit test. I don't know. Here, let me make a virtual environment real quick. I am going to... I wonder if this is 2.7 or 3. What does this say? In... Here? Python. I don't see anything here. Try it in 3 and see what happens. Make. That didn't work. Permission denied. Well, that's interesting. Maybe I won't make a virtual environment. Make virtual and Python 3 exorcism. Never mind. We'll use Python 2.7. Let's do that. So let's try running the tests. I spelled that wrong. What's wrong? What is going on with my Python install? I broke it. Let's try this. Okay, that works. I don't need to get fancy.
Okay.
All right, so this, you can see we got some test output here. There's a summary at the bottom, and this is kind of like running PyTest or unit test. You get the results at the bottom. It ran 4 tests, 4 of them failed. let's take a look at what it tried. We can look at this first one. So hello world test.py, test hello with other sample name. It tries hello world.hello, passing it Bob. It expects to get hello Bob, and it gets nothing. So let's see if we can fix that. Go on to the code that it's testing, which is hello. I don't want a CD. I'm not typing well tonight. Someone's going to have to help me. All right, so here's hello world hello. Who wants to put some code in here to make it return hello Bob? Any takers? Jocelyn, should I put you on the spot?
I was going to volunteer, but right now I'm on my cell phone, so let me just move onto my computer. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second.
All right, I'll take over and steer for a minute.
Okay.
So I would say print. And then the string hello. Can we use the format version in Python 2?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so hello, squiggle braces, exclamation point.
Oh, like this?
Yeah, close quotes, dot format name. Oh, we don't want to print, do we? We want to return this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's give that a shot. I test. There it is. So we'll run the test. Okay, so we ran 4 tests. We got 1 failure, 1 error. So that fixed 2 of the 4 issues. Now let's take this one because that looks like it's kind of funky. Okay, so when we don't get a value, it's not putting world in there.
Right.
Okay. Let's see. Jocelyn, do we have you back yet, or are you still AFK? No? Chris, do you want to give this a shot, or Steve?
Let's go back to the code.
Yep.
Well, the first thing I'll do is I'd use an if statement and say
Okay.
if name equals blank, just 2 quotes. Assign hello world as a string to a variable. So I'll just say, yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, message equals hello world. And else message equals hello. Yeah, basically that. And then return message.
I think you need a colon after your else.
Oh, I always miss that. Yep, I always miss that. Thank you. Give it a shot. Okay, that fixed that one. Now we have. Oh, look, they handed us the name Jurgen. I think that's how you say the. I'm not really sure about the ASCII character there. I think that's Jurgen.
That's reasonably close.
So we need to handle another Unicode basically,
Yeah.
and we're in Python 2.
I think we can just put a U in front of the string.
So like here,
Yeah.
we don't need to put it there.
For completeness sake, put it there.
Nice.
Yay.
Yay. All right, so that worked. Okay, so once you finish it, once you finish it, if you want to submit it up to Exorcism, you can configure your key. I've already done this, but you get a special string that identifies you, and you use that to configure it. And then you would just submit path to file. So you would just say exters world.py. Okay. And it says you submitted hello world in Python. You can find your submission here. Let's try. You can see it right here. And here we got it looks like the automated nitpick. Usually the next step is to have a conversation about your code and iterate your solution. In the case of Hello World, we won't be encouraging them. Oh, it's just saying to get the next one, you can say exorcism fetch. Cool. It also says here to remove, if you want to, you can add some additional stuff. Remove some duplication, optimize for readability, and just generally try to make your code still, maybe make it a little cleaner. So does anyone have anything that, any changes we could make here to make it a little cleaner? I'm going to change one. I'm going to go like this, and
This is the first time that I've seen a parameter pass like that looks like name equals empty string. Like
with
I've only
default value.
I've only ever seen parameters pass as just like, for example, the parent parameter name. That's it, not like equals to something.
It's providing a default value for in case nothing is passed.
Okay.
I think what I would change, Jamal, is in the if name equals nothing, I would, the next line down, I would say name equals world. Get rid of that message, the next line down. Get rid of the else, and then just return the Unicode. Yeah, like that.
Okay, put a space, make it a little readable. Okay. Let's see if that works. That's still working.
And it just occurred to me there's an even easier way to do this. On the first line, we're def hello name equals world.
Okay.
And now we can get rid of those, and we just have the return statement.
I'm going to try something out here. I'm going to run Pylint, see what happens.
Oh noes.
There's only
I don't know what Pylint is.
only 2 lines of code. Okay, so Pylint is a linter, so it's going to analyze your code without running it and try to find from just the code any style or like formatting issues with your code.
Cool. Okay.
It's
And
going to complain that there's no docstring for the function.
It's definitely that. We got a 5 out of 10, and yes, the missing docstring.
Oh, that's interesting.
It gives you all these metrics on your code. It can be extremely picky, but it can also help you find stuff that you might not have known about, or at least it helped me find some stuff I didn't know about.
That just made me think of, like, for example, I use PyCharm, right? Like at work, the IDE, and it like automatically like will underline, where it thinks you're making some sort of syntax error or something. I wonder if something like Pylint is built into the IDE.
Yeah, it is.
It is? Okay.
I was just about to ask the same thing because I've had PyCharm tell me I have too many like blank lines between my code.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how that works, but I guess that makes sense. Instead of writing the output to the screen, it could then somehow translate that into the feedback that you get with the underlines or the. How does PyCharm do it?
I
That's
don't
okay
know
so far.
exactly.
Oh, I mean, like what does it look like?
Oh, it's
Oh,
like an underline, like a spelling error or grammar error
mhm.
in Word,
Okay.
and
Hmm.
you move your mouse over the underline, and there's like a light bulb at the beginning of the line. You go to the light bulb, and it'll tell you.
It'll give you options of
It'll
what
give
to
you up, yeah,
change.
exactly. And like a comment, if you put hashtag and then immediately start typing no spaces, it'll underline that too, and try to tell you to put a space after the hashtag for a comment.
Another thing it does is that like on the right side where you have your scroll little, like, I don't know what you call that, the
Just
scroll
scroll
thingy.
more.
Yeah. Anyway, like right next to it, they highlight. Like they have little lines like yellow or red. So you want to avoid having it give you red lines or yellow lines. And it highlights the lines where it's like telling you you could do something better with it so it doesn't like attract its attention.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty handy. I've used another program that does that, and it's nice for being able to find your way around.
I believe there are Vim add-ins that will do that sort of linting in for Python code.
Oh, nice. That would be handy. I'll have to look that up. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and submit this one again. Hi. Cool. All right, so do you want to try the next one, do some other live coding, or run through a little GitHub Python text adventure scenario?
I'm new to everything, so any of those.
Okay.
Same here.
Okay. Well, let's try the next exorcism exercise because we're already here. So we'll try exorcism. You want to? I was told that you want to put the language you're interested in. Otherwise, it will fetch all the languages,
Mhm.
and it supports like 30 languages.
Cool.
Okay. So we got a new one called Leap, and let's take a look at it. So Leap, write a program that will take a year and report if it is a leap year. The tricky thing here is that a leap year in the Gregorian calendar occurs on every year that is evenly divisible by 4, except every year that is evenly divisible by 100, unless the year is also evenly divisible by 400.
Uh-oh. So
For
it's a lot of
example,
modulus?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's right. For example, 1997 is not a leap year, but 1996 is. 1900 is not a leap year, but 2000 is. If your language provides a method in the standard library that does this lookup, pretend it doesn't exist and implement it yourself. All right, well, let's see.
What YouTube video does that send you to?
Oh, let's see. There's got to be a way to click on this. Does that do anything? No. Control click? Oh, that works. Control click.
Cool.
Calendar year is made of 365 days, a number that refuses to be divided nicely, which is why we end up with an even.
All right, I'm bored already. That does not look anywhere near as much fun as I was hoping it would be.
That doesn't make sense. Like, it said that 1986 is a leap year, but is that evenly divisible by 100 or 400? I don't think so.
It's divisible by 4.
Okay, so it's one or the others. It's not like all of them. All of those. It doesn't have to fit all 3 criteria, then, right?
No.
Okay, so one or the other or the other.
Well, it has. It's an they're each exceptions to the previous rule. So if the year is divisible by 4, then it's a leap year. Unless it's divisible by 100.
Then it's not a leap year.
Right. Unless it's divisible by 400, then it is a leap year.
That's tricky. I didn't realize this stuff.
No, but see, like I said, 1986 is not divisible by 400.
Correct.
Right, but it's divisible by 4.
It's divisible by 4, and it's not divisible by 100.
Okay.
So you have to
So
check
weird.
each one in order?
I think
In the
so.
order that it's in? Okay.
Let's give it a shot. Yeah. Year import is leap year, no module named year. So there isn't one, so let's make one. Touch year.py. All right, that's my contribution.
I need to download Exorcism. Like I actually like saved it or bookmarked it, but I haven't actually tried any of those.
I hadn't tried it until recently, and I like it. It's really cool.
Yeah, it looks like fun. It's like a combination of Git, and some exercises, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. And it incorporates testing, which I'm always a fan of.
I haven't gotten there yet, but.
Well, here, I'll show you what the test looks like real quick. Let's take a look at that. Test. Yeah, this is using unit test.
Okay.
And it's going to import your code with this line here.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to use something called an assertion, which is basically you pass it something, and if that something isn't true, then it will say something. It'll throw an error or tell you that you failed.
Yeah, I read that you have to pass an assertion per test, so it has to be. They have different options, I guess, right? Like, and another thing that I noticed, so I tried using unit test, and like when I created a setup method at the top, what sucked was that it kept running the setup method before each test, like method that I had, which didn't. It wasn't helping me on Selenium because my setup method had like me log into a website, but each time like it went to the next method, it just like completely closed out the browser and then restarted it, and I just wanted it to continue on to something else. I didn't want it to like close everything and then restart.
Yeah, that's the basic behavior for setup because you don't want to kind of have bleed over between your tests. But if you do, for some reason, want to have that, I think there's a class setup that will only trigger once per class, and then the class teardown at the end.
Yeah, I did a teardown too. Yeah, I need to like look into it a little more. But since I was trying to like finish up with a test, then I just took it out.
Yeah.
Cool though, I
Yeah.
like this.
You can always put it in the individual tests just to get it going, and then move it out into setups however it makes sense.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you have questions, let me know.
Okay.
And okay, so that's what the test file looks like. And we've got this error here. It says cannot import name is leap year. Any ideas on how to fix that?
Let's see. Was that supposed to be the name of your file? Is leapyear.py or something?
So the module, the file is year, and we just
Oh, I
created
see.
a file called year, and it's saying to import this is leap year from that module.
Mhm.
So put something in leap. I made one. What's going on here? Oh, here. It's leap. So we're gonna have to make. It's gonna need to import something called is leap year. So I guess we could try just putting that in and seeing what happens. So it was able to import it, and then it says is leap year is not defined.
Maybe it needs to actually be a function.
Okay, let's give that a try. So use def to make it a function, and then we'll use pass so that it doesn't do anything. Yep, looks like it ran.
Okay, cool.
So we got a lot of failing tests here. But they all look like they're failing for the same reason, which is a good thing.
Because
Apparently,
they do not exist.
it says is leap year takes no arguments, but one was given. So
Yeah, I actually just recently came across an error like that, and it was kind of blowing my mind because I'm like, there are no arguments. Or like it said, it was taking uh, 2 arguments, but I had 3 in there, and I only had 1. And that I was like, what the hell? So I guess they're like unseen arguments passed for some methods.
it is kind of tricky when you're using classes. There is a default argument that always goes at the beginning, and that's a reference to the instance or the class, depending on whether you're doing classes or instances.
Hmm. Like a self.
Yeah, exactly, itself. That throws me off sometimes. I'll forget to put that in, and I'll get a similar error to what you're saying. That could be what's going on there. All right, so we need an extra argument here. What should we call it?
What are we trying to do now? Like the divisible by 4, or you said an argument. Let's see.
Yeah, just to pass it in.
I'll just call it year.
Year? Okay. Test and see what happens. Okay. So it's expecting it to be false or true. But it's getting none instead. So it's expecting a return value of either true or false. Oops. How are we going to get it to return a Boolean value.
Let's see.
It doesn't have to be the correct Boolean value, just a Boolean value.
I'll just return true then.
Yeah, year is true or something. Return true. Oh yeah, did you have to actually pass like the argument inside the method once you put it up, up there?
So the test is going to wire that up. It's going to import this function, and then it runs the test. It's going to be doing the passing of the arguments in, and then it evaluates the results.
Okay, that makes sense.
Let's give this a shot. Okay, so we ran 5 tests, and we only got 3 failures this time.
Oh.
We could improve our chances by always returning false. But I don't think that's what we want to do. So let's take a look at this one here. What is this? Test century. Let's do this one first. I think this makes more sense to start with. Test non-leap even year. So we know that we want to make it divisible by 4. Return true if it's divisible by 4, and we'll just say return false if it's not divisible by 4.
Okay.
I think it's a good direction to go from here. So that's going to look something if something.
Year.
Okay, if year
Modulus 4.
Equal.
modulo 4. Okay.
Module, yeah. Return true. That's fine. Else. Return false.
If I would say if your modulus 4 is greater than 0.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
Let's give that a try.
Oh, actually, it's the opposite.
Opposite.
Yeah. So
Equals
return if it's no if it's greater than 0, return false, because that means it's not divisible by 4.
Oh, okay.
But don't all if statements have to be true? Okay, never mind. Never mind. I'm confusing myself.
I think typically that
we're saying if this part is true, return false, else return true.
Okay, that works too.
So this could be written. What you're saying is this could be.
Yeah, that'll work.
Around. Okay. Give that a shot. Nice. Only have 1 failure. And that is 1900. Okay, so test century. Now, if we look at the README, so except every year, so divisible by 4, I think we got that. Except every year that is evenly divisible by 100.
100.
Okay. So how do we prevent returning true if it's divisible by 100?
Else if.
Or an or statement.
The else.
Like here.
Else year modulus 100.
Huh? Or something else. Let's try that. See what happens. And then this would be
That would be false.
return false.
Yeah.
Still getting, it's still doing the same thing. So if it's
So
1900, oh, go ahead.
I know, I was just gonna say, I guess I forgot that part where it said if it's divisible by 100, then it's not a leap year. That's what the test said.
Right. If
Yeah.
it's divisible
Yeah.
by 4 but not divisible by 100, then it's not a leap year.
Okay.
I think what's happening
It's
here is it's
actually
divisible by 4 and then it's returning true here and it's never getting to the else if.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So if we,
so put one before the other.
yeah, I'm gonna nest these here. So if it's divisible by 4, then if it's divisible by 100, false, otherwise true. And if it's not divisible by 4, false.
Okay.
So it's a different test that's failing now. Test exceptional century.
So then we're gonna nest them again, I guess,
I think so.
with the 400 thing.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at that again. So we got this, and then we have another case, unless the year is also evenly divisible by 400.
I like how they actually also nestled those things there.
They're indented?
They're giving you a hint.
Totally. What am I doing? Okay, so where do we want to nest our if here?
Would it be better to reverse the order?
Okay,
I was
so
wondering about, I don't know. So first 400, then 100, and then 4.
400, then 100, then 4.
Yeah, I think that'll be a better idea.
okay, let's try that. So if you're 400, it's not 400. Well, 400
You'll
is
have to
divisible
nest
by
anything that way
4.
also.
400 is going to be a true.
Okay. So 400, then this.
You don't even need the else clause because you're exiting out with the return. You can just immediately go into if divisible by 100.
Huh? Or,
Okay.
oh, what do you mean?
No. Get rid of the line that has the else on it.
This one here?
Yep. And now you can back out the if years divisible by 100. We're going to say false, and then change that else to if years divisible by 4.
See, I thought of like mentioning that, but is that a proper convention, like using multiple if statements right next to each other? Because I don't see that very often, or at all, really. I always see like, if, else, or elif, or whatever.
In this case, it works because we're returning out of the function.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never hit the else part of the test.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we're going to need a final return false.
That works.
Yay.
Woot.
Woot. Okay, so our last condition is met here. And there, and there. Huh.
It reminded me a little bit of FizzBuzz. And with FizzBuzz, you also have to make sure it's like in the proper order for it to work properly.
Yeah. That's interesting. That wasn't the solution that I thought was going to work when I started this, but it totally does.
I think what throws me off with exercises like that is just my interpretation of the exercise. Just like sometimes, like I don't think I understood it very well. So like I would assume that all the criteria had to be met in order for it to be a leap year. Rather than some things are true and some things are false.
That's a neat exercise. Go ahead.
The way it's presented, it was a little off-putting. I expected it to be early for something. We got great feedback on things that are very easy to change, like improving the flavor. We also have to
There we go. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, that was fun. Let me throw the links to our solutions into the show notes. Tab.
I am very worried about the morale of food foods. And I wanted to spend some time with Diana so she could give me some insight.
Here. There. Well, we got about half hour left. Does anyone want to work on the next one or something else, or people up for?
I was gonna bring up the Linux thing that you guys mentioned in the room, but that could be any time. You don't want to talk about it.
That's a good question. What was your question?
I think you and someone else was suggesting what I could do in order to run like a Linux environment alongside my Mac. And that was a little confusing.
So I made the original suggestion that you can get dual boot, where you partition your hard drive and you actually install 2 operating systems on your computer, and then whenever you boot it up, you get to choose which operating system you want to run.
Okay.
So then you would be able to both run your Mac OS and also run Linux, depending on which one you want to use. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask, does it tax your system at all to have 2 things installed? Like 2 systems?
No. Only one of them's running at a time, so it's just inactive files on a partition.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only thing you really lose is your disk space.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, something else I wanted to try, because at work we have used this, but I haven't actually built this myself, but Docker containers, where you can actually build, I guess, different type of environments like that, right? So I've thought about doing it that way. And I think originally Docker is meant to be used with Linux, but there's a way that you can set it up on a Mac.
I think they do have Docker support for Mac now. I haven't tried it. Initially, Docker was written for Linux, and they have moved it over to Windows and Mac now.
I mean, it shouldn't be that different. The OS X is still a POSIX system, so it's still conforming to lots of the same standards as Linux, so it shouldn't be that hard for them to port it over, so I would guess that they have.
That's true. You're on a Mac already, so it's going to be similar to a Linux system. What were you looking to were you just looking to try out the new operating system? Was there a specific goal you were trying to
Um,
work with in Linux?
I think just with Linux, I just wanted to test it out. But overall, I do want to use Docker at some point because right now, like I'm building Selenium tests and I'm actually helping our QA person. That's why like I'm doing what I'm doing right now. But eventually, when she starts creating some regression tests for like the entire application, we're going to want to test different browsers, different devices, et cetera, et cetera. So for that, we want to use the Selenium grid, which we can build upon Docker containers to just kind of like automatically run all those tests that we've worked on, and just to test different devices at the same time. So I guess like I kind of want to like to practice building or using Docker at least before I get to that point. And for the end of year automation that we did not that long ago at work, one of my coworkers did set up a Docker environment with Selenium Grid. But unfortunately, as soon as we got done with that project, he also just took down like his containers and he just shut everything down. And I was like, well, no, we could have used it, but oh well. Apparently, it's really easy to set them up, according to what he said. But I haven't actually tested it out myself.
I've used a basic Docker container. I haven't really tried to make something actually work in Docker. I know that Travis CI uses Docker for its tests, so it just builds a Docker container for you to run your tests in, and then it goes away when it's done.
Oh, cool.
Oh, Derek found the installation info for Mac.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Yeah, I like that. I want to get Docker stickers because they're cute.
It's
like
a
the
whale.
Cool.
Nice. So yeah, I think Derek's right that you can. Well, he's got the install there. I would highly recommend checking out Linux, but I don't think you need to go down that route to try out Docker. I think you can probably do that on your Mac.
Cool.
If you wanted to.
In the past, like the reason why I mentioned also the virtual boxes, I guess, because I've come across those before, but I know that's what people use them for, to have like different also operating systems running.
Like using like VMware or Vagrant or one of those different utilities.
Like I think, well, when I was, I helped like the Rails girls set up like this workshop, and a lot of women there had PCs, but I was using a Mac. But in order to help them, I had to figure out how to set it up on a PC. And someone had mentioned that I should just, create this virtual box and just run like Windows on there, so I could figure out how to do that. But I haven't actually done it.
I think that would be cool. I haven't done it either. I generally, like the times that I have had to put Windows and Linux on a system, I've done the dual boot route that Derek suggested. But I would be interested to see that setup.
I've done that before. You have to make sure that your PC that you're building this on has enough resources for both the operating system you're currently running and the virtual environment that you're going to run on top of it. So I don't do it anymore with anything less than a minimum of 8 gigs or more on my RAM on my PC, and then make sure you get enough hard disk space, because you're supplying disk space for just for more than one operating system, and they can be used up rather quickly when you add the second and the third and the fourth operating system just to try without tearing them down. So I've kind of gotten away from it. Right now my PC has got 2 hard drives, and I've got a slot that I can pop the first hard drive out and pop the other hard drive in, and I boot up off of whichever one I want, and that way I can have 2 separate environments and play with them, and I don't have to worry about them encroaching on the other. But there's also the issue of having to restart every time I want to switch back and forth between environments.
Right. And that size issue is one of the differences between like VMware and Docker, right? Where the Docker is kind of a lightweight container where you're not actually installing a full operating system. You're just
I've not played with Docker yet. I always kind of thought of Docker more of an application virtualization as opposed to operating system. Is that true, or is it more of an operating system virtualization, or both?
I don't think you can run like a Windows install inside of
Yeah.
inside of it. So yeah, you're right.
So maybe more like Oracle partitions, virtual partitions.
Mhm.
All right. So you take the base operating system and you kind of partition off the changes between one partition versus another.
I think so. I'm not an expert though.
Hey, really, what I've been wanting to try, and I just haven't had the time to mess with yet, is getting a free space out on a public cloud and
Mhm.
setting up a Linux server and SSH into it, and then do whatever I want to do with that, and then push from there down to my GitHub account, and then whether I'm on Linux or Windows, I can always access that Linux server to practice coding with.
Python Anywhere has
Yes.
that available. You only get a limited amount of CPU slices a day for the
And
free
also, what we're
account.
doing, you don't need a whole lot.
Yep. So if you just wanted
Um,
to try that out, you can check that out.
I seriously went over my limit for Python Anywhere when I did a pip install for what's Google's machine learning setup that they put out.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I know what you're talking about. I haven't
Uh-oh.
tried it.
I
I
mean,
mean,
do they
when
have
you
like their
go,
entire search engine database?
no
Okay.
database. It's just the engine for doing the machine learning. Um,
Mhm.
but I think it gave the free account gives you something like 60 seconds of CPU time. No, that's not right. 600 seconds maybe. And I went well over that just pip installing it.
Mm.
But yeah, for most of the stuff that I do, the time I get on the free account with Python Anywhere is fine.
Cool.
Yep.
So from what I gathered before, I think I came across the Docker documents at some point, and it said that each container is an isolated and secure application platform. So each Docker container, that's what it is.
Yeah, I think
Whatever that means.
I think it uses the stuff that's available on the greater operating system, but it kind of like when with what Derek was showing us with that Google thing, like a lot of stuff is just blocked, so you can't get to it. But that's just my limited understanding of it.
Yeah, it seems like you have to give it access to whatever you only set up what you're going to use, pretty much. You're not going to set up the entire system. You're only going to set up select items just to run your application, so to speak.
Mhm.
And that was my other question. I know like when people at my work used it, we set it up onto our own servers, but I wonder if they allow you to set it up on some sort of Docker server if you wanted to. Like if maybe they also give you like an allowance of something like that. I don't know.
There is a Docker hub, but I don't know if that's just for storing Docker files or if you can actually run containers on it or not. It'd be
I'm
something to look
probably gonna
into.
look into that at some point.
Yeah, maybe because the problem is we have so many firewalls in place, I can't get to half the things from the office. So, you know, uh, Python Anywhere or a lot of these other things, unless it's a secure shell connection, I just can't get to it until I get home.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty common. I know in my workplace I can't get to a lot of stuff like that either.
Not surprising in today's day and age.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Hacker. Although all they're doing is pointing out issues.
How is Python Anywhere different than Cloud9, like this development editor type thing that's like only online. So it already has like a built-in console and all this other stuff that's already like built into it. So you don't have to really install a lot of things anymore.
Well,
From what
I'm
I've
not familiar with Cloud9. I'm just looking at the link you sent. And this looks like just an IDE.
Okay.
Python Anywhere is an actual, like, shell.
Okay, so it's a
Um,
shell. Well,
here.
no, this actually does have a built-in console. And let's see here.
Here, let me share my screen.
Okay.
Since I'm logged into my account. Maybe this time I'll be able to do it on the first try. Alright, can you see my screen?
Yes, I think. Yeah.
Alright. So, go to Python Anywhere, and it gives me my different choices. I can run different Python shells, IPython, PyPy, Bash. So, like, I've got a Bash console that's set up right now. I go in there, and it's pretty much a full-fledged Linux box there.
Okay.
I mean,
That's
it
really
was
cool. Now
so
I've used it once. So I've used Python Anywhere once. So I'm a little bit. I mean, like I'm not completely familiar with it, but yeah, like I had to use the console. I followed the Django Girls tutorial on how to build a
yeah,
blog, and they use that. Um, and for the Cloud9, I actually used it a long time ago, and it was also to build some sort of Django application.
right.
But they also did have some sort of console built into that, like a bash thing.
I know
I'm
that
trying to see
Jay's
if I
used
can get into it.
Cloud9, and he had a console session opened up, and it does look a little more like an IDE than Python Anywhere.
Okay.
Another thing that was kind of cool, well, I think they both do this in their own different ways, is allow group editing. So Cloud9, you can have multiple people in there at the same time. I think you can share your Python Anywhere session too.
Yeah,
But,
you can.
Oh, cool.
so definitely something to look into.
Yeah, I guess now that I think about it, it does remind me a little bit of like PyCharm, which is an IDE.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about PyCharm.
Now I'm actually like on the Cloud9. Like I logged in. Do you guys want to see what it looks like?
Sure.
Okay, let's see. Let me share my screen. Hold on a second. Do I have to do entire screen? Is that what shows like the browser and everything?
I think you can pick the application. I usually do the entire screen, but
Yeah, I don't think I have the option. I just have Google Hangouts or Slack. Let me do the entire screen. Okay, you guys see? Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So these were like previous, I guess, projects that I had built months ago.
yeah.
But if you do like create a new workspace, let's see, that's what it looks like. So you can make it private or public, and also clone from Git or Mercurial, and you choose a template. Now I'm not really sure what this, I guess, does. Like I guess if I wanted
So
to
does that
start
set
one.
up your environment to have that stuff available?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Probably.
I would imagine.
Let me just try it out. Oh, I'm just gonna create a random one. Let me do it. I guess a Django, just because Python.
Cool.
Now, I heard of Cloud9 from the Women Who Code like group that I'm in, and they use it a lot, I guess. Because then this way, a lot of women that just want to play around with stuff don't have to download anything, especially if some of them don't have, good laptops and stuff like that.
That
So
makes sense. You can avoid that. I
yeah,
don't making sure
every,
everyone has everything installed.
and everything's just on here. So they have the little bash things on here. I'm not really sure what immediate means. Oh, repel. That's nice. So you can just quickly run some JavaScript code.
Nice.
Navigate. Oh, okay, so it already downloaded like all the Django stuff because I chose Django.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's built done the default setup of a Django app for you.
It's pretty cool. I don't know what this stuff is. Debugger. Okay. Live configuration. Oh, interesting. Cool. Anything else you guys want to see? Since you're here.
That's cool. Can you link that to like your GitHub account if you wanted to?
Yeah, like actually, it said that you could clone like a existing GitHub repository or Mercurial.
Okay.
So I guess if you had something that existed, you just wanted to upload. I don't know that you can just link your profile completely or whatever.
Okay. That gets you what you want though. So you can save your code to GitHub from there.
Have you guys used SourceTree before?
It sounds familiar, but I don't
So
know
this
that
is like I guess like a visual representation of GitHub. Um, where you can see your branches, your master branch, and all that stuff. So we use this at work as well. And it's also similar to something I've used at General Assembly, which is called GitX, that you can also just download, and then you have a visual representation of your repo. Let me see if I can open another, so I can show you guys. So it shows
Oh,
you
that's
like,
a more interesting repo.
yeah, so see, it shows you like, where you started, where you branched out, and then created new like feature branches, and then merged back into master and develop and all that stuff.
that's
They're
cool.
following, like at work, we follow this model where we create like a master branch first of all, and then we create a develop branch, and then anyone else who's working, as a developer, they would create feature branches, like small ones, and each time they create a feature, they merge back onto develop, and it gets revised before anything gets sent up onto the master.
Okay. Yeah, I could see graphing software like that being helpful on a repo like that, where you have not just like a main master with maybe a couple feature branches that shoot off every once in a while, but you start getting like multiple parallel development trees going at the same time.
Yeah, and then see, I guess it's kind of helpful to have just simple buttons to do the things that we do, on the command line, like commit, checkout, or add, remove, pull, push. But it actually, like when I first started using this, it really confused me. So I was like, I just would prefer to use the command line because that's the commands that I'm familiar with, like git add, commit, push, pull, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But just now I'm starting to get slowly comfortable with this kind of setup.
Yeah, that's cool.
And PyCharm actually has a similar option or feature. I'll just quickly pull just to show you guys.
Sure.
I should probably switch into a different branch, but see, they have something called version control. Actually, it's not one. This is like not a good one to show you guys, but because there's not much in there right now. But it's a similar kind of thing, see?
Okay,
And
so
you could
yeah.
actually also hook this up to your Git account. That way you can merge everything.
Nice.
Version control. So you can choose any of these. Like, see, I have we're using GitLab, and they have it on this server for my company. And then you just, put your password or token or whatever, and you link it up.
That's pretty cool.
But
Is that-
PyCharm has like so many features that it's kind of confusing sometimes. All the stuff they have. Oh, what were you gonna ask?
Oh, I was just gonna. Is that part of the community edition, or or do you know?
I
'Cause-
Well-
think it's strictly pro.
Yeah, I think this is because my company pays for it. But yeah. Otherwise, I don't know that I would be able to get it.
Yeah, I have community. I have a lot of things, but I don't think I've ever seen the ability to track
This one.
like that does.
So right now, this is like the Selenium test I'm working on. And it's kind of cool because you can set it to run like this kind of stuff. So you just click play and it runs it for you if you link it to like your virtual environment or whatever it is that you have, that you need to run this.
Mhm.
So that's helpful. And like I was telling you, those little yellow lines right here, these are things that, for example, it's giving me yellow lines here because I'm not using these modules that I grayed out. So I guess it's, it would prefer that I get rid of them since I'm not using them. So that's why it's highlighting those.
Nice. Yeah, I used it was in Visual Studio. I think it was called ReSharper, and it
Oh yeah, it's probably
it-
similar.
like that. All right.
Alrighty, guys, I'm gonna probably get off here soon. I'm getting a little tired.
Yeah, me too. I got to get off of here, but it was a good hangout, and glad you all were able to attend and be a part of it.
Definitely.
Awesome. Well then, I'll go ahead and grab the show notes, and I'll post those up in the Slack channel so people can get the links.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, have a good night.
Thanks,
and
guys. Have a good night.
Have a good night, guys.